10 facts about Kentaro Miura and Berserk. You won't believe what Miura's daily routine was. 1. Miura created his first manga series named Miu Ranger at the age of 10 years old. This manga was Miura's entry into his creative genius, as it spanned 40 volumes, though it was never serialized publicly. Check out the drawings, they sort of remind me of an old game called Dragon Fable. 2. Before Miura started Berserk, he made two one-shots, one named Futabi and the other one named Noah. Futabi is about a character named Rick who finds someone named Venus who is from another planet. No spoilers, so you have to read it to find out what the story is about, but it takes place in a futuristic city with really dark twisted theme behind it, and I'd recommend you read it. Noah also takes place in the future, but the scene is quite different. Instead of a city, it's a desert, and the manga resembles Berserk more in terms of landscape. With Noah being the type of guy who wants to save the innocent, he kinda resembles Guts. You should give these two one-shots a read. Working on these one-shots was Miura's debut into the manga world. 4. The name Guts sounds cool to Miura, and Miura has stated in an interview, the name Guts sounds German, and I like it as well. 5. The name Guts happens to be a coincidence with the German word for cat. The word sounds like Gatte, which is similar to guts, and it evokes a wild cat spirit. But this is just something Miura found out later in his works. 6. A lot of movies have inspired Berserk, but Miura has mentioned two of them countless times. One being Hellraisers, and the other one being The Name of the Rose. With Hellraisers inspiring Berserk, I see the resemblance in the enemies Guts has to face. With The Name of the Rose, I see the resemblance in the less important characters, the landscape, and the villages nearby. 7. Miura was inspired by boxing. When it came to coming up with episodes for Berserk, Miura used Holyfield's body as a model. Miura even went so far as to call the Tyson vs. Holyfields a drama, and the fight was filled with so much emotion that Miura even cried after the fights. 8. Miura's daily routine will really shock you. Miura starts off his day by waking up at 7 to 8 p.m., then starts work at 8:30 p.m., and then he eats, and then he works until 3 a.m., which is his next break. He eats until 3:30 a.m. while watching a video that he'd record that day, and then he goes back to work. After that, his last meal is at 6 a.m., and then he goes back to work around 12 p.m. He usually works until 3 p.m. at the latest, but doesn't finish working until 11 a.m. at the earliest. Miura has a really unorthodox way of getting work done. He wakes up and works throughout the entire night and goes to sleep when the sun is up. Yet, it kinda makes sense to work on a dark fantasy story when the world is dark. 9. With Miura's daily routine, it allowed him to make 6 pages of Berserk in a single day. This just adds on to how hard it is to be a mangaka. 10. Miura's preferred drink of choice is coffee. Miura would drink so much coffee that his stomach would ache, and then he would switch to tea until his stomach would ache. Then he would go to drinking water until he was fully recovered. Once fully recovered, Miura would then switch back to coffee and repeat the process of his stomach aching until his day was over. 11. Does Guts have plot armor? Miura stated that Guts is a lucky guy who always survives unlucky situations. If you read the manga, you know that this is true.